Michonne picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Hartlinger Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Love.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans, and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
And subscribe ULTI.TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of ULTI.TV.
Regardez ULTI.TV. Deviens un membre d'ULTI.TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Top ULTI.TV, följ eroginki med Ultimate of Andromeda.
Si quieres ayudar a ULTI.TV, puedes ser miembro de ULTI.TV.
Everyone, follow ULTI.TV on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love Frisbee. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på ULTI.TV.
Became member
of ULTI.TV.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec ULTI.TV.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
With thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
we work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and new stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future, and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Good day and hello, welcome to our stream. We are here at the European Youth Ultimate Championship that is linked with the under 17, that is linked with the under 20 Juniors Ultimate Championship. And they're called the Joint Junior Ultimate Championship 2022.
Got there in the end?
Yeah, got there. It's really hard for me. Just so many things happening at once. And here we got a matchup between Italy and Sweden in the under 17 women's division. I'm Christina Obermeyer, joined by the wonderful, the one and only Benjamin Rees.
Stop it, stop it. Under 17 women's action. It's the second time we've seen Italy's women on stream. The first time they played Belgium and they won 15-0.
I heard about that.
So obviously they'd be hoping for more of the same. Obviously Sweden very much not. Italy look like the team to beat in this division. as well as that 15-0 win. They beat Great Britain 15-5 and France 15-3. For Sweden, tight loss to Great Britain 8-5, and then again to Germany 9-6, although they registered their first win of the tournament yesterday afternoon against Belgium 13-7. The format for the under-17 women's division, there is one pool of 6 teams. The top 3 go into a top power pool, the bottom 3 go into a bottom power pool. You replay the teams in your pool. You don't carry the results forward because otherwise there'd be no point doing it. So you replay the teams, and then the top 2 teams in the top pool go into the final, and the third place team in the top pool and the first place team in the bottom pool go into the bronze medal match.
Sounds like a good, well thought out schedule.
Yeah, it's really tricky because every division has a different number of teams. So there's 6 different scheduling formats because, of course, there is. Why would it ever be easy?
No, easy would be boring.
Correct.
So as we see here those 2 teams having a pre-game spirit talk. We can't say circle anymore because they're supposed to be lines, but it's
kind of an oval.
It looks like it's almond-shaped.
Spirit almond, yeah, spirit egg, whichever you prefer.
Egg, oh, that's too pointy at the end there.
Some of the players to look out for Italy, they kind of tend to distribute their goals around, with the exception of Laura Briolini, who has 8 of them. But Sofia Albani has 10 assists, and Asia Martinini has 9. So those are 2 players certainly to keep an eye on. For the Swedes, they've got a shorter roster, but they do, again, have a couple of players to look out for. I think one to be keeping my eye on is Coral Bodogni, who is the number 33, has 6 assists to go along with a goal.
Yeah, Italy, just from a stats point of view, the favored team in this matchup, but never underestimate one of the teams. I think Sweden is going to fight hard for their spot in the upper bracket if that can still happen. I think Italy is very safe in that upper pool. But, anything can happen still.
Yeah, so, all the old cliches. Goals not played on paper. All the cliches, right? Certainly, Italy, 100% the favourites for this. But you never know.
So pole goes up. Sweden is going to start on offense. They're off to the races. Italy coming out with a zone early.
Yeah, after that first pass, I would have liked to see the Sweden stack adjust and move downfield slightly. They're all very close in still. But actually, Italy have come down with the zone, so Sweden have wisely dispensed with that tactic.
So the Sweden handling core doing passing the disc around between each other. Italy making it really hard for them to stop, and then that's a hammer attempt. But that hits the ground, and Italy has got their first break opportunity.
Yeah, the wind has picked up in the last few minutes or so, so playing that zone should be effective.
Omuladi putting it into the middle, working it around. Back to Amati. Working in the red zone now. Albani putting a flick over the top and collected in the back of the end zone for the first Italian break.
Yeah, I think the Swedes did the right thing. When they saw the Italians come down with the zone, they threw the vertical stack out the door, as they should have do. But their zone offense wasn't quite spaced correctly. Everything was so in and so congested that it just means that there's so many defenders in that space. You're going to find it so difficult to get free as a result. And yeah, the Italians did get that turn, that little popped hammer over the top, went to the floor, and then on the turn, this D-line offense, well, it looks just like your normal offense, to be honest.
Yeah, of course we don't have anything to compare it with yet, but it looked very clinical, and I like the decision making.
Yeah, and that time it's a slightly ambitious shot over the top into the hands of Rota, but it was actually perfectly weighted.
Beautiful stuff, and now Italy with some last-minute instructions by one of the coaches.
Yeah, I fully expect Italy to stick with this zone until the Swedes can prove that they can solve it.
Also, we have a side wind today.
We do indeed. It's coming towards the camera as you're looking at it. And towards us here
Towards
in the
us as well, yeah. Just going to say. Refreshing, really. Pole lands.
Out of bounds.
Out of bounds, but just behind the brick marks. Is a pretty good pole for an under 17 vision.
Yeah,
it's got some length on it.
Just not the right line. Yeah, with the wind pushing strongly towards this sideline, I'd like to see the pools come from over towards the far side of the field.
Hermansson. The disc. So Italy in their zone set up.
Yeah, you can see that they forced the Swedes backwards. They finally found an outlet pass there, but there's no continuation from it.
And they're not really connecting yet with the downfield cutters. Now they found one again. 4 people around the disc on the Italian side.
They're really baiting those shots over the top or trying to thread it through just like that, but that was perfectly done.
There was a beautiful shot, a good opportunity that was well used by the Swedes. Ansmeyer. What an inside shot. That is such a hard shot to execute well. Beautifully done. Carlsen now puts it back to Ansmeyer. They're kind of mixing up their shots again with little passes and then big around swings, but Italy seems to be back in their shape again. And now the 2 main handlers for the Swedish side are working it. Downfield is rather static.
Yeah, but I do like the patience that the Swedish handlers have shown. They've not got impetuous at all.
Oh, and now, as we say,
I stand by my point, even if Italy picked that off.
you're right. Into the end zone quickly for the break. That was, again, flawless D-line offense from the Italian side.
I think what this Italian zone is doing, it's not necessarily aggressively forcing the turnovers, but it's testing that patience. It's making you make pass after pass after pass after pass, and just trusting you that, or just trusting the zone that eventually it's going to force the mistake. Just rushing a throw or a lack of concentration at some point, the turnover will come, and then the D-line offense was merciless afterwards.
See a replay on that. Beautiful up the line shot, and oh, and that was so close to get that D back.
Yeah, you can see there's the risk reward that the defender comes in to try and get the block, but because they're a bit late on it, it leaves them out of position and it leaves that continuation throw open into the end zone.
Italy with pull there.
Again, another solid pull here.
Yeah.
Probably just shy of level with the brick mark, but towards this side, this difficult sideline as well.
Bourdonnier directing traffic, showing her fellow players where she wants to put the disc to.
I mean, those 2 handlers are so close to one another. It's almost handoff range.
Yeah, but
there's 3 of them in there.
This is one of the ways to work through the zone until this happens, where one of the Italian players comes close enough, and that's a pickup for them.
That's the risk, is that when you've got 3 handlers in that such a close confined space, you're going to draw all the Italian defenders in there as well.
Amati doing a lot of the handling work now, and over the top, around, just out of reach.
A little too ambitious, that one, I think. I do like the fact that they weren't focused on that front corner, but with the wind as it is, that's a tricky throw to get right.
It is. So back in that setup are Sweden, and now they've made it behind that mark, and they're off to the races. Oh, and the bubble cut off by the Italians.
Ascari, maybe? Couldn't quite see the number.
Amati. They're on the near side now, trapped. Find someone in the end zone. heroically outbid to try and stop Vianello from scoring, but she was just better positioned.
Yeah, there are bits of this Swedish offense that I like. You know, when they see an opportunity, they will just go these 1-2 yard passes back and forth with one another, but then they it's about knowing when to stick and when to twist with it.
Yeah, very solid D-line offense from the Italians, and we've seen especially Amati doing some of the main work as well on offense as on defense.
Yeah, Amati, based out of Rimini on Italy's east coast, bordering the Adriatic Sea. Yeah, got that one right. Thanks, Christina. Her community, she's a scorer. I assume means that she volunteers to score games rather than getting the disc in the end zone a lot. But lists her sporting hero as maybe the person with the largest impact on Italian Ultimate.
Davide Mori.
None other than Davide Mori.
Great guy.
He is. He's quite a character.
He is. Indeed, he is.
And the fact that, the Italian youth programs continue to be so successful is it's partly due to the program and the systems in place that he was able to help set up, even if he's not necessarily directly involved in coaching any of these teams anymore.
Yeah, but he does inspire people to be better. So we'll see how Sweden can work through this zone now. Their two different lines have a very different approach to this zone from the Italians.
It's just when they tend to get into trouble is when they hold the disc for a little bit. They're much better in my eyes when they're moving it a little bit quickly. They've got a bit of pace and they're really manipulating the front line of the Italian defense.
Amundsen?
I think this is a more aggressive approach to taking down these zones than we've seen from a lot of teams this week, and I like it.
That's true. They're doing a good job of working, of letting them work, letting them run after. Billgren to Hermansson.
Guys, we can't see if you stand there.
Oh, and threaded the needle there for a beautiful shot, just around their opponent's brick mark now. And a cheeky high release pass puts them in a great position to score their first goal. Far side now, just in front. Hermansson looking for an option, and as Italy transition to a matchup defense. And a huge hammer over the top, two defenders underneath it, and that's collected for the first goal.
Love it for Sweden. Firstly, some of the best zone offense I've seen all week, regardless of division, 100%. And then, yeah, they got into trouble a little bit on the end zone line, maybe just caught off guard by the Italian transitional defense. But doing the right thing on the high stall. There's no point taking the stall out. Just find a way to put the disc into space, give your receivers the best chance to make the play. And Hermansson takes her time, thinks about it, pretty sure that she doesn't want to, and eventually says, why not? What have I got to lose? And maybe overran it initially slightly, but Arensmeyer adjusts well, makes the catch, and Sweden are on the board.
Yeah, what a way to finish that point. So hard to throw a hammer upwind and place it for two people to be able to run under it. Well, very well done from the student. Out of Stenungsund. Don't know if I say that correctly, but I can't do it any difference.
Yeah, despite the fact under 17, been playing for 6 years already.
And she has two older brothers.
Yeah, we do see a lot of familial connections, especially at youth levels. Double gold medalist, actually, in the Swedish Championships, in the under 17 and under 20 age divisions.
Not bad.
Not bad at all.
Oh, what a grab there by Italy to keep possession alive as their O-line takes the field for the first time. Up the line, overshot, but well caught in a power position. She's going to launch it as well into the end zone, just out of reach, and she's unhappy with that.
Yeah, Chiara Cece, I think they just held up ever so slightly. She tried to adjust and come back to it, but it wasn't there. Albani, you could see, chasing down that put into space, and then from the power position, doing the right thing and putting it deep. But, yeah, just held up a little bit.
So this is a break opportunity for Sweden, and Italy come out with their zone again. There's a discussion on the field. And they're back to their pop-pass approach.
Yeah, we mentioned they've got two very different ways of trying to dissect this zone defense.
Now gaining some yards laterally. Walking the disc up a bit. That cup is rather static though, so they have the room to do it.
Yeah, I think they just need to be careful about their spacing. Don't get sucked in too much, because that will suck in those Italian defenders.
Yeah. Another thing is that they're not really looking downfield anymore. So even if there was an open player, it would be really hard for them to connect with them. An unfortunate drop there gives Italy the disc back in their red zone. Up the line, and a poach block comes through, both players landing on the ground, and a foul call.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. I think there probably was contact. I'm not going to deny that. But would she have made the catch? That's the big question for me.
It's really hard to say, but I do believe that it was a dangerous situation at some point, because she is running up the line and the defender comes in from the back and she couldn't see her, and if she hadn't been there, she might have been able to.
This is interesting, because they're both entitled to attack that space, but I'm not sure that Ascari ever really has a look to see if there's a defender there.
Yeah, because she's focused on catching the disc.
But you should always be aware of what's going on around you.
Yeah.
It's contested and sent back, and the subsequent pass is tough.
That's an opportunity for Sweden to get it back, and maybe that disc didn't decide yet where to go. I think in this situation, sending the disc back is a good idea, the right outcome.
So again, we're seeing Sweden going with these short passes, and when they try and look a little bit longer, it flutters to the floor.
And a quick pop in, and a motivated spike there from Italy to get that O-line.
It feels like that pass and that spike do not somehow correlate in my mind.
Oh, really?
Like, you make a big layout or you sky a pack of defenders, but then sometimes, you know, the adrenaline courses through your veins. I get it. That one, I'm not. Yeah, it just felt like just a simple pop into the end zone. Not really sure that it necessitated it, but
yeah. Emotions running high for Italy. They are a very fiery bunch. See that play one more time.
yeah, there's the swing pass that just kind of flutters and wobbles to the floor. And yeah, it's Ascari who was contacted on that foul call, who catches the goal, and that's maybe why she kind of felt the need to spike it there.
So she has only been playing for a little while, started playing in 2020, Ascari. Played volleyball before that, stopped that during COVID, because volleyball stopped during COVID. And now she plays Frisbee.
Yeah, plays for Tequila Boom Boom, the women's team out of Rimini.
We should look for layouts. We did see a layout.
We did indeed.
So Sweden off to the races. Hermansson. Working with Birger now is trapped in the far side of the field.
This is a really tricky position to be in, but a nice break will release some pressure.
Yeah, Birger keeping her hands with it, and this is perfectly used the space to get it all the way to the other side, and Hamilton is back here. Stable hands. Oh, that is a hand overturn.
That looked like a handoff. That might be the first one I've ever actually seen live.
Same.
Suspiciously handoffy.
Yeah. So, I think there's a clear ruling about that, but the players are going to discuss it on the field and
yeah, technically, I don't think Arensmeyer has established control before it leaves Hermansson's hands.
No.
But she's definitely got her hands there, and the disc is very much placed on her hand, if you ask me. I'd consider that a handoff.
I do too, but this is our opinion. Right?
Yeah.
The players on the field are going to discuss it.
What we think is not important. Yeah. It's about
just the players on the field and other people if they're asked. We also can provide the replay, but we don't want to prolong this discussion any further.
I mean, we did say earlier that they were at risk of that. When you get those players in that close, it's a.
It is, yeah, one of the risks.
We're all Sweden.
Oh, you're Sweden. You're blocking the TV.
So the turnover stands.
The right outcome, in my opinion. But a turnover on the Italian side.
And the Italian sideline, who is very handily all stood directly in front of us.
Ladies, can you clear the sideline for them? They want to see as well.
Turned over by Sweden just outside the end zone.
Loads of pressure from the Italian side now, just in front and pop it in for the score. Cicchetti this time, I believe, with the assist, and Massi with the goal.
Yeah, Italy just extending their advantage even further. Looking at the records for the team, there was always the possibility that this game could potentially get away from the Swedes quite quickly. And credit to Italy, because they've been, with the exception of that 1 point where Sweden had maybe the best zone offense I've seen all tournament, they've really they haven't been able to figure this thing out.
It's really hard as well. Conditions are tough. And even though these players are all very good and have experience, they don't know each other. And I always feel that for zone offense, playing zone offense, you have to know your fellow players really well to know which passes they like to put in under pressure, which they are safer and which ones they don't like as much. So for a national team, I think it's always far harder to connect well on an offensive zone set.
Yeah, chemistry is so important for that. By the way, we have information about the 5 o'clock game that we're going to have streamed for you. Tell you more information after this point.
A big hut goes off. Players underneath it, and the Italian player is just so high up and manages to jump it in, Albani.
Yeah, I like the Sweden trying something different there, testing out Italy deep. At the very least, it will make them think about it a bit more. But it was brilliantly defended by Sofia Albani.
Stressful situation there, high stall for Italy, and they give it away again.
Yeah, credit Sweden there for really locking it down, keeping everything compacted on this sideline.
Very good matchup defense. Bourdonnier is gonna pick that disc up again.
Italian sideline trying to make a nuisance of themselves, which create that confusion on defense. Italians coming down with match this time.
Match-up defense, and let's see how Sweden can handle that.
Yeah, they haven't necessarily been that proficient against the zone, but they're just throwing something different out there to try and keep their opposition on their toes.
Bodonje and Dang working it between themselves, and now finding Thorvand up the line again, and that is deflected. And players seem to still think about a discussion, but no, Italy off to the races. Albani. In the middle, puts it up the line, and a huge pass goes up into the end zone, but no one underneath it, unfortunately. Just a bit of a miscommunication there. Gives the disc back to Sweden.
So the under-20 women's game will be streaming at 5 o'clock over on the WFDF YouTube channel. Will be Great Britain versus Austria.
No way, that's great. That'll be a good game. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, it'd be nice for you to get to commentate on your home nation.
Oh yeah, I love that. No, I know some of the players really well, whereas I guess you know the British side a bit.
Not really, but it's you and Rachel for that game anyway.
A huge hug goes up from Bodonje. Perfectly weighted. Did you see that? That was perfection.
I love that she watches it all the way in as
with
well.
A spicy catch behind her back. Up the line, put just in front of the end zone. Struggling to keep her feet on the ground, but does so as Bodonje just in front of the end zone. Pops it in for the score. What a highlight point from the Swedes.
Yeah, we did say before the game that Bodonje is a potential player to look for. That will be her 7th assist of the tournament for the Swedes as they make it 5-2. That deep put was perfectly weighted, and Preving did exactly the right thing. Judged it perfectly, didn't overrun it, watched it all the way into the hands.
Yeah, that was just so beautiful, and especially with that wind, keeping this disc flat and out just straight. That is a real skill. I'm so impressed by her.
So timeout here called on the field.
Look at that, just can wait for the disc to float into her hands, and Dang with that beautiful catch. Fakes it, tells her to leave. She runs away as...
Get out of there. I mean, it looks strange, but it was the right thing to do. Tell your players to clear that space, because if there's someone already there, you've got a defender sitting there as well.
That
you need to clear that out.
Yeah, that was actually Preving who cleared out, came back for the goal. So she actually did her fellow player a favor in saying, hey, move away a bit, clear out, and then come back in. Because it's so much easier to throw to a running target and to pop it into a person that's standing where a defender is standing next to him.
Yeah, Previn says that she's going to be quite impulsive on the field, but she plays with her best friend, Coral Bodonje. So,
nice.
Yeah, just seeing that connection link up there.
That's great. I love that, playing with your friends and doing that on an international stage. Sounds pretty great. So that's the second point for Sweden. That was a clinical possession. That one last possession Sweden had, I really love that. I want to see more of that.
Yeah, as we say, we've seen it in flashes.
Leading pass to Ascari. Searches for an option, puts it up to Santalena. And Santalena is going to put it into the end zone for the score. Briolini with that collection for Italy. And that was just easy open side for the Italians.
Yeah, that'll be Briolini's 9th goal of the tournament.
Impressive.
Yeah.
That works.
Certainly got a nose for the end zone, and that's what you want to do after you've seen your opposition trying to open up their offense a bit more. Have a nice clean hold yourselves and put them right back out on the field.
Exactly. I love it. and not giving the defense the other side a break, the offensive side for Swedes. Keeping that as short as possible.
So the other games going on at the moment here at JJUC around the field. If we're looking at the under-17 women's division, Germany currently up 2-1 on Belgium. That's the latest score we have for you. And France 5-2 up on Great Britain. That game might potentially decide, will certainly help decide who gets to go into that top power pool with France and Germany, both with 2-1 record. France and Great Britain, both with 2-1 records so far.
Interesting. With the Germany under-17 women have been streamed yesterday. They had a nice performance.
Yeah, a nail-biting game
against GB.
Yeah, which I will tell you, it goes to Universe. I won't tell you who won.
So a lot of stumbling around from the Swedish side there as they work it pretty far up the field. Even though they are match defense, the Italians, the Swedes decide to do a little bit of those pop passes as they have done for the rest of this zone defended game. And
Preving and Badogni is, as Preving put it herself, an unstoppable duo.
I can attest to that. We saw that, the two of them just working it with themselves. They don't even care about the rest of the players. They're just putting it into the end zone.
I must admit, if I'm Italy here, sure, obviously I'm going to try and put it in this offense first, but I'd go back to playing that zone. It felt a lot more effective than the match defense has.
Yeah, I agree.
Good.
But switching it off every now and then is also really important to not, get your offense used to something. So for Coral Bodogny, her sporting heroes are Sarah Eklund and Oda Homlong. Those are some heroes and some role models to strive to. She says because they are both very smart players and they always work the hardest they can in offense and defense with great blocks, layout, catches, throws, duels, and etc. That's put very well. I can, yeah, I see that. So Italy on offense again, isolating one player just the way they did last time. So much space into the end zone now, but overshooting the receiver slightly. And I have to tell you, Benji, I was part of the CUSP clinic last year in Bologna, and they're using this exact system that they taught us players for this national team.
I mean, it checks out.
Yeah.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah, it was called the CUSP Academy, of course. So it was a few days, 5 days of playing and learning the Bologna way of Ultimate. I really enjoyed it, and it works. We can see that here. The offense is very fluent from Italy, just overshooting one of their players to get into the end zone, gives the disc back to Sweden. Hermansson. Oh, and that's a block on the reset.
That was really sticky coverage in the handler set there from Ascari, and she gets her rewards with the block.
Yeah, Ascari now just in front of the end zone. Even tighter now, works every other and pops it back to her fellow player for the score.
Yeah, Italy now 1 point away from half.
A beautiful, beautiful offense here in the second attempt. Martinini getting the goal here.
Yeah, I think so far they sound to be pretty happy with their half. They've not been perfect, but so far they've looked the more comfortable side. But obviously, they do still need to close it out here.
Yeah, and that's sometimes very difficult to stare that halftime right into the eyes, you know, being so close to getting to half, but then having pressure and staying on top with your energy. It's not an easy thing to do, but those juniors can already learn that in the under 17 division. Prove their mental strength. As there's a timeout on the field, and Swedes are getting some encouragement by their traveling family.
Yeah, we hadn't seen any Swedish teams on the stream until today, and yeah, we saw them this morning against France in the under-17 Open division. We're seeing them now in the under-17 women's division against Italy. And guess what game we've got next?
Sweden.
We do indeed, facing Slovakia in under-20 mixed.
Mixed division, yes.
Yeah, you can find that on the World Flying Disc Federation, which is also where you can watch the Austria versus Great Britain under-20 women's match. Those start at 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock local time, respectively.
So teams are setting up after this timeout.
Yep, not half just yet. Both teams have 2 timeouts to use a half, and they may be thinking, well, the first half's nearly over here, so I may as well use it because otherwise we won't get the chance to.
Yeah, you can't carry them on. You get two timeouts per half for it overall. And with the small roster of Sweden, I think it's also a really good idea to give your players a rest.
Yeah. If you compare, I think there's 5 more players for Italy than for the Swedes, and that does really take its toll, especially when the sun's come out like it has now. Swedish sideline trying to drum up some support and confidence.
Pole landed out of bounds, or in bounds and rolled out, and volunteer showing Bourdonnier where to get that disc in, and she puts it into play. Fakes off any resets, finds Dang. Dang looking for an option and finds one in Bourdonnier again. Bourdonnier recollects on the other side of the pitch and puts up a huge disc into the end zone. Run down by the Swedes, but not quite grasped, and that's the opportunity for Italy to break for half.
They'll have to work the full length of the pitch to do so, though.
They've done that before, but Sweden will put on a lot of pressure. The line again, Vianello, Amati. They're just working it up the line, and now Amati puts it deep, just into the end zone. Beautiful put there, and the Swedish players on the ground in frustration.
And that will give Italy the 8-3 half-time lead.
I'm glad she's okay and didn't or anything, just really frustrated by that score difference maybe, or by the way she played, but I think Sweden put up a good fight.
So they definitely improved as the half went on.
Yep.
I think they looked much more comfortable when Italy marked them one-on-one.
They did. They got into the rhythm of the game.
I would like to, however, credit Italy's D-line offense because they went the full length of the pitch and they didn't really look flustered doing it. Here's the put to space from Melinda Ramati, and she just waits this. You can see there, just losing her footing at the back end of that is Bourdonnier.
Emphatic spike that maybe is a bit much, but celebration nonetheless from Italy. And as they're taking a break for half to try and keep their energy up and find some flow for the second half, we will take a break as well and be back with you soon.
Bichon picks up, and they've got a short field. They've got another goal. It's tied up at 12. I cannot believe what I'm seeing
Can
here.
Lola Dam chase that one down? That is a score for Härslinger Elferkel. Fantastic run by Julia Love.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge.
And we believe that requires knocking down the paywall.
We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch, and we want them to go viral.
When you become a member, you enable us to improve our working relationships with tournament organisers, events and federations.
And you'll help us to produce live stories for Ultimate fans and to generate new fans with our enhanced content.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts, and we want to bring you coverage on a more consistent basis. We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Ciao ragazzi, support the community.
Let's subscribe ULTI.TV. There's lots of the videos, posting, everything. Check it out. They are the best one. Woo!
If you want to grow Ultimate Sports, become a member of ULTI.TV.
Regardez ULTI.TV. Deviens un membre d'ULTI.TV et fais grandir ta communauté.
Stop ULTI.TV. Följ Eroginkime, Ultimate avandruomene. Si quieres ayudar a ULTI.TV, puedes ser miembro de ULTI.TV.
Everyone, follow ULTI.TV on Instagram, on YouTube. They've got everything.
Best content.
Like their pictures if you love Frisbee. Just do it.
We're counting on you.
Bli medlem på ULTI.TV.
Became member
of ULTI.TV.
Mamma mia.
Contribue au développement d'Ultimate avec ULTI.TV.
Like and subscribe. ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
We want to grow Ultimate.
we want to grow Ultimate. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We have our signature style 2-camera setup,
with thousands of hours of experience,
and our crew is globally dispersed to facilitate coverage everywhere around the world. We can also scale back our broadcast with just one elevated camera, or scale up with 2 fields, 2 cameras, and 2 commentators on each.
We work with local teams and we all have the same mission, to grow the sport and bring it to new people by providing live coverage and new stories.
Become a member today on our Patreon page.
And fund our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories, ideas and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond. We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches.
We are back with second half actions in the joint Junior Ultimate Championships here in Wrocław, Poland. Myself, Christina Obermeier, joined by Benjamin Rees, watching the Italian under-17 women's side take on the Swedish women. Currently they're waiting for the disc.
The Italians had a really strong start to the half, and then Swedes pegged them back slightly a little bit. They looked like they were really troubled by the Italian zone defense. At one point, they even had a handoff turnover, which I've literally never seen live before.
Me neither, no.
But yeah, they were able to compose themselves. Italy switched to going match defense, and on the one hand, it's a good opportunity to really test and try and improve that. But it didn't feel as effective to me.
No, it didn't. But also the conditions are tough, and that's where the zone the Italians put on works really well. But I am a fan of switching it up every now and again.
Yeah, you never know. There might come a game where that zone just does not work at all, and you need to rely on that single coverage.
Exactly. See Italy working it down the sideline, not finding any options, but going for a reset now that is too far out the side for the Italian receiver. And it's Sweden to pick up. Not really any movement, but throws someone open here. By the Swedes. Ansmeyer into the hands of Carlsen.
Yeah, and the Italians are setting up that zone again now.
Ansmeyer.
Feels like it's taking Sweden a little bit of time to adjust to it.
Oh, and that throw is nifty, but super low and can't be collected by Bodoni. And now Cicchetti for the Italians. Briolini, rather, fakes her reset, looks for an option.
You could feel the stall count ticking up there.
Taking it to a very high stall, and that reset doesn't come often, and she moves closer towards her play, which is not ideal, and makes it harder for her to find any options. This over the top that is neither collected by the Italians nor the Swedes, and that's Italy's attempt for a score. Third time's a charm. Into the end zone. What a beautiful break pass for the score. Briolini.
I think, yeah, as you said, Briolini with a goal. One that will make it, I think, 10 for her at the tournament now. Just
not bad.
A goal-scoring machine.
Yeah. Doing a lot of the heavy lifting for the Italian side, as I have been just handed a note from the Italians saying someone has a birthday today.
I mean, surely if they could get the win here, that'd be a nice way to mark it.
Yeah, not bad. Agata Benzi, 23. It's her 13th birthday.
13. That's. Oh my God! Why are they so good so young?
I hope it's not wrong, but it says birthday 13. Say it. So I'm saying it.
We're saying
birthday.
it.
Happy birthday, Agata.
Timeout taken here, very early on into this second half. Not sure what necessarily would have prompted that, but the Italian coaches seem to be
very emphatic and emotional about it, and
quite animated, which is, you know, not necessarily out of sorts for when you think of the Italian coaches. Yeah,
Italian players and Frisbee people in general.
Yeah, they can be quite expressive.
I agree, but I kind of followed their emotions on the sideline a bit, and I don't think they were really happy with the way Italy played their offense.
It was messy, wasn't it?
It was. And they have a good structure, as I've mentioned before, and players not keeping to that structure just really doesn't help. If not everyone is on the same page, it's really hard to find a connection.
Yeah, even if it works, it's not how they're. Yeah, it's kind of working. Maybe the coaches feel in spite of what they're doing, rather than because of what they're doing.
So they're setting it up as well here.
Imagine we might see that the return of that zone, which we saw come back last point.
Why not? It didn't work bad. It worked really well.
And the wind is picking up a little bit as well, so
ideal for the zone setup.
Would be the right time for it. People walking in front of us with some iced coffees.
Oh, I'd love one. If someone hears this, give me a nice coffee. No, I'm kidding, of course.
Really?
Yeah.
If anyone is on the ground and does hear us, Christina would like an iced coffee.
So Sweden is going to mark that walk that disc to the brick mark. Get it out of my system here.
Going with a split stack downfield, the Swedes, and you can see the Italians, they were poaching off that second handler, trying to clog the downfield movement. They want to make them take these lateral passes and hope for the short field turnover, and they get it.
There they go.
So maybe that's what they were trying to cue up out of that timeout.
Albani to pick up and gets it again here. Reset for Amati. Melinda Amati, that is. There's two Amati sisters. They're just in front of the end zone on the near side now. Opting to go back. And over the top, so many players underneath it, and that's the pickoff by the Swedish defender here.
Albani has generally looked really composed, but that time had, I don't know, maybe locked onto that option. I don't think Rota was ever really open.
I think there was two people striking, one up a bit up the line, the other one in the back, and it looked like she saw both of them, and instead of deciding for hitting one, she kind of hit both and put it into space. But then two Italian players means two Swedish defenders.
Yeah, and also how typical of this is of a youth tournament. Other interesting facts: sing and play instruments, loves horses and dogs, and hates school.
Hates school. Oh, yeah, that's.
I mean, that's classic.
That's yeah, not ideal though.
I'll be honest, I hated school at their age as well, so I get it.
Well, I don't want to say anything about this because I'm going to be a teacher, and you know, I'm not going to be on record saying.
Be the change you want to be, etc.
Something like that.
Be the change you want to see, that's the phrase.
Yeah, something like that. Amati with a huge blade into the end zone, picked up by nobody.
Again, it feels like a high stall option there.
Yeah, Italy had position, but just couldn't wrap her fingers around that disc.
It's always interesting to me that people seem to crowd around the replay screen and watch what we're streaming.
Watch the replay instead of the live game just in front of their eyes. Yeah, I agree with you, Benji. A huge put up into space. Two players underneath it, and Svan stumbles. But she did have position and a beautiful put, but Italy off to the races again. Big backhand just in front of the end zone, collected and put into space for the Swedes, I believe.
Yeah, unable to connect with it.
Preving running through the get that D, and I'm miscrediting her. It's Algren. Algren ran through and followed that play and that disc very well.
Yeah, you've got to admire the commitment to staying with the play.
Pinned in the back of their end zone are Sweden now. Far side of the pitch. Looking for an option. Finds a reset. Good spacing this time from the Swedes and finding open players again and again.
Again, it does still seem to be that problem of being quite static downfield.
Yeah, I agree. Whereas Italy has a beautiful flow and know where to cut and who to cut next. It seems like Sweden needs to react to those plays better, as the Swedish player just can't keep her hands quite around it, and Italy have another red zone opportunity on their hands and give it away as well.
Overthrown.
So you know what I love to see now? Just a quick deep shot. Just pick it up quickly, put it deep. The defenders are going to be out of place. Ah, there he goes. The deep shot at least.
Yeah, but actually, credit Cheche there, because she saw that cut developing from a long way out and called that switch. So Preving had that defender there, although actually the disc was overthrown regardless.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. My ideal look in that situation would have been her running towards the disc, putting it into space so that only she and her receiver can react to this. But if you have someone as intelligent and good at defense as the Italian side here, you can't take that risk. Later in the stall as a run-through block out of Svan creates a red zone opportunity for Sweden. Hermansson walking to the disc slowly. Again, a very static setup from the Swedes, relying on their throwing abilities, but they are here, and that disc just tipped by the feet and thrown to the ground. Huge put up into space. Players running underneath it, but that disc was always gonna go out the side.
Yeah, Albani just choosing to try and make the most of maybe the field position, although actually this is going to come back on an accepted foul, I believe.
That disc back into Albani's hands. It did come off. Bit weird.
Yeah, it might explain why it was quite so wayward.
Yeah. Albani looking in frustration, doesn't find anyone. Goes to Mani. Mani over to Romaldi. High disc into the hands of a Swedish defender, Nordqvist. Max that disc out of bounds. One more time. The Swedish sides get possession.
Yeah, this point's got very scrappy.
Hermansson calling the timeout, a good idea.
I think you could sense it coming.
Yeah.
While the teams take a timeout on field, might be a good little opportunity for us to do the same here, I think.
I agree, Benji. Let's do that. See you again soon.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our
our
work
work.
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the ultimate world and beyond.
And we are back in live action. Hermansson standing in front of the disc.
Violation there, player's just moving too early.
Again, we can hear the stall count getting up to 7 until they find an outlet. But now they're off. Getting a very good field position here, Sweden. Nordqvist puts it back to Hermansson. Again, a high stall, but safe to Peterson. Hermansson with a huge hammer into the end zone, but nobody underneath it, and she apologizes.
Got away with it before on a high stall, but
that was upwind. This one's downwind. It's going to be really quick and pick up speed as well.
I think as well, it was quite early in the stall count, and they looked so patient. So I'm not entirely sure why she felt the need to rush it, but sometimes it's easy to get sucked into the trap.
Italy working it down the sideline now. Amati looking for an option and finds one in Albani. Albani shakes her hands in frustration, looking for someone to get that disc to. Trapped in the sideline. And put it up into space. So many players underneath it, and Italy collects it for the score.
Well, that's a high stall punt there from Albani. Not really seeing much else, so thinking, I've got to try and make something happen, and we've seen that she can be a playmaker, and yeah.
Yeah, she is a playmaker.
And
says it all.
Sees it there. How unfortunate that that hammer turnover seems to be for Sweden, because Italy, not for the first time, work at the full length of the field for the break. Another one of this Italian contingent who plays their ultimate in Rimini for Tequila Boom Boom. There's a reason why you see so many players there. It's because Rimini is another city that has really put a lot of time into its youth ultimate. I remember, this is going to age me, playing juniors in Paganello over a decade ago.
Wow.
And yeah, there being 3 junior teams there from Rimini, and it just kind of goes to show that, you know, they really do invest that time and energy and effort into the development of youth ultimate.
Yeah, Italy does that very well, and they have looked at all the different versions of how the European cities and states do that, and have created their perfect system. I've heard that at least.
Yeah, so just under an hour gone. Games played to 15 in all divisions this week, but for the under-17s, the time cap is at 80 minutes rather than 100 minutes in the under-20 divisions.
Bordogni with the disc in her hand. Italy go back with their zone. Dang colliding with an Italian player, but keeps the disc in her hands.
Yeah, they're trying to crash that cup, and then when the Italian defenders get sucked in, hoping to use the space that they leave and exploit.
Bonini around her brick mark now. Hansmeier just next to her, and pretty pop over the top to Dang.
Yeah, cheeky, I like it.
Oh, and this time it does not connect, and Italy are quick to pick up that disc and move it across the field into the end zone for a score. That is a clinical Italian offense we know and have seen this first half.
Yeah, Ascari was wide open, and I was thinking for a while that maybe they'd waited too long to put it. But actually, they just swung it into a good position and then able to step into that throw. Albani's racing away, and Italy look like they found their groove again.
With the wind that we have now coming towards us, towards the cameras, it's really important to put that disc towards the zone late, because it will pick up speed if you put a flick up. So just a beautiful read by Ascari to get that disc.
Yeah, timed and weighted this to perfection. We talked about the format in the under-17 women. It's one pool of 6 teams. The top 3 in that pool go to a top power pool, and the bottom 3 to a lower pool. Well, you replay all the games, so you want to really get yourself in that top power pool, because the top 2 teams in that top pool will play in the final, whereas the bottom team in that pool and the top team from the other pool in the lower pool will play for the bronze medal. So you want to get yourself the best position possible. Italy, undefeated so far, look like taking top spot. There is a little bit of a lot of eyes elsewhere as to who could be joining them in that top power pool. Germany are up 8-3 on Belgium. That would be their second win of the tournament. And France took half on Great Britain 8-6.
So the game is a bit closer for Britain and France.
Yeah, potentially though, because all the games in that top power pool are all the games in the power pools are replayed. How you do to get into that pool may not matter so much. It's just a question of getting in there.
What a beautiful shot by the Swedish side here. Players just jumping over all the Italians, and calm and collected offense. Hermansson just out of reach for her receiver, and Italy quick to pick up, put that disc into space, and a big flick hook goes up and out of the hands of the Italian player.
See, normally I quite like the quick pickup, but on that occasion, it felt like picked it up and then realised, oh, I'm not actually seeing an option there to go to. Just feel that sometimes I love the quick pickup if you've got something, if you can set up something from it. But if it's going to take a while for your teammates to adjust and adapt, then sometimes you can afford to be a bit more patient.
Yeah, if everyone is behind you and you pick up the disc as the first person, might not be ideal. Just maybe go for it, run, and let the next person recognize it and pick up and put it into space for you.
Or alternatively, pick it up, but don't look forward, look backwards where everyone is. That's fine, just get the disc in motion quickly, but yeah, picking it up and looking forward when you're the first forward player, there's never going to be anyone there.
So Sweden back on offense. They're in a very tiny spot on the near side of the field. Players seem to be very spread out on the field. Not a lot of structure there, as we have seen before, but it seemed to be working for them. Svan puts it back into Hermansson. Over to the other side, and just a bobble that gives Italy back their possession. And the flick blade is launched immediately and overthrown. That's a bit risky now.
I mean, there was the receiver there, they had space, but yeah, again, just pulling the trigger
too early?
Maybe too quickly, yeah. Shout out to Amos the ruler in chat. He says, very proud uncle of the Amati sisters, which is nice.
Nice, yeah. I love the support by the families. If you want to shout out someone in the chat, you can.
Yeah, not just online, but here in person as well. There's a real buzz and vibrancy about the field complex.
Sweden, the disc in their hands again. Hermansson finding no one. It has to put a reset up that doesn't work, and Italy quick off to the races. And
I think actually this might go back because there is a stall. There was a stall out called on the throw, and so players stopped and
so this Italian player picks up the disc now.
There it's Vianello wearing those distinctive odd socks, and Vianello will find Albani for the score.
Unspectacular.
Yeah, same result, but
correct outcome and correct change of this, since she did get stalled out on this particular play. It would have been a turnover regardless, but just the position of the disc was corrected now.
Yeah, that'll be Albani's 5th goal of the tournament, so racking up the stats. In the double digits for assists as well. She looks like a really promising player.
Yeah, she does. And still under 17.
I know. Isn't it unfair? Nothing like juniors to make you feel old.
Well, I'm actually quite glad I'm not a junior anymore. Kind of majority. You gotta embrace it, Benji. I've had my time, you've had yours, and now you move on.
I'm just salty that I'm not old enough for Masters yet. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, it'll get better every day.
That is true, yeah. Getting ever closer. Turning 30 in a couple of weeks.
Well, that's a good start.
I mean, nearly there, yeah.
As we turn back to those players who are not yet reaching 30 anytime soon.
Not even, I mean, some of them not even halfway there.
Preving looks for an option, and too high, and Italy again trigger happy.
And it's Briolini, who is a natural born goal scorer, who was the target, but just too far out in front. Just needed to put a little bit more finesse on that throw, I think.
More love. I like to call it love.
A little bit of love.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
That this just flies around in the air. Boydo needs to pick up again. Puts it into her best friend's hands, Preving. With a cheeky hammer over the top. What a grab by Dang. She has been making crazy grabs all game long, but this was one particularly good one.
Yeah, I thought she was overthrown, but she disagreed.
Proving you wrong, Benji. But would have.
Hey, I'm more than happy to be proved wrong by plays like that.
Something like that, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I'm more than happy to be proved wrong generally. It's always an opportunity to learn something.
That is a good approach.
It's an approach you have to take when you get proved wrong as frequently as I do.
Oh, don't sell yourself short. What another great grab from Liang.
Right, just put anything in her kind of area and she's going to bring it down, it seems.
Preving. So they're calling for matchup defense in the next shot, and that was the next shot. So there's matchup defense on side of the Italians. Preving, looking for an option, pops it over the top to Boroni. And she's going to go around for the flick. Players underneath it, an Italian player connects with her, which is not ideal.
It looks like Ascari, I think, judging by those boots.
Yeah. I'll believe you.
Yeah, it is. They're, honestly, they're like yellow and orange. They're very distinctive.
There you go, proven right, Benji. Once, but collision on the field, and Torvand pushing that disc up in the air. And Preving is going to launch a huge flick blade that is always meant to be out of bounds, and it actually hits the line. It looked like it would go out way more than it did. And the Italian player just waiting in front of the disc for someone to mark her so that she can pick it up, which, you know, is not necessary, but really polite of her.
Yeah, I think the coaches were a little bit frustrated, saying just pick it up and go.
Pironi with a big hook into the end zone for Ascari. Another one on the board for Italy.
Yeah, only a few points away from victory now. An emphatic spike afterwards as well, but goes up to help the opponent, check that she's okay. A little slap of hands as well. There was a point where it felt like Sweden looked a lot better, but in the second half, after a slightly shaky and sloppy start, Italy have found their groove again.
They have, and the Swedish players not putting their feet off the gas yet, though. They are pushing for those discs, putting up the hooks and coming down with some nifty catches. Look at that, and you can see a replay here.
Again, that's Ascari gobbling it up deep.
And a head defense from Torvand. Goes up with her hand, but what she actually gets it is with her head.
It's not quite how they teach you to do it, but as long as you get in the way.
Yeah, as long as you're here, as long as you can get that disc. Do not connect with your position, that's fine.
So Sweden back out on offense here. The Italians switching back to a match defense.
And a huge put up for Hermansson, this time on the receiving end, but doesn't come down with it.
I love the ambition.
Me too. The throw was good as well. Just getting caught by the wind, a bit pushed towards us, which results in a turnover in the favor of Italy. Arisi to pick up. Moves into the middle of the field, 1 meter inside. I don't know why, but fair. Good place for her to pick it up.
No one really seemed to question it. As a big run through D.
What a block by Billgren, getting a run through there. I think she baited that a little bit, staying behind her defender just to run past her in the right moment. So we see her coming there. Arnsmeier. Hermansson. Back to Arnsmeier once again. The both of them going 1 and 2, and as I'm saying this, an Italian defender jumps in to be part of the party.
I wonder if we're going to see Bilger and try and bait another block.
This time. It's not Bilgen, but still the throw not connecting with the players.
on Billgren. Says that her specialty is blocking on defense, which
I can attest to. Yeah.
yeah, that
I can
tracks
see
out.
that.
Wants to be a neurosurgeon.
Oh.
Which
Has she watched too much Grey's Anatomy? Maybe.
too much what?
Grey's Anatomy. There's a lot of neurosurgeons.
Oh, yeah, okay, I take your word for it. It's not something I've ever watched. But yeah, says that you can tell that she likes Frisbee, given how pale and ginger she is, obviously sacrificing to be out there. Yeah, it's a lot of sun cream implied, I imagine.
Another big hook goes up. That finds the ground. Amati, Mirtilla Amati, that is, with the pickup and the disc just into the end zone, finds a Swedish player that gets a hit in the face, but defense regardless, because she was there first.
Yeah, not a great decision, that one.
Hermansson getting a block here.
Just try to shoot it down the sideline. You get so little margin for error there. And yeah, the Swedish defenders were ready for it. And were able to poach in the way.
Hermansson to pick up the disc as well. Up the line. Floaty disc is caught. What a grab just before it hit the ground. And after a quick stoppage, Svan can get that disc on. And this time around, it does hit the ground first. Not connecting with a player from the Swedish side, and Italy, Mani, with the disc in her hands, goes around, and what a layout bid to try to keep possession alive, but not able to wrap her hands around the disc. Sweden is waiting for a cut to form, and players seem a bit tired.
Yeah, I will say that you might have heard the Italians cheering for defense on the sideline, and when that disc was overthrown and went out the side, a couple of them with a little bit of a high five. And I'm like, yes, we contributed to that.
And they did, for sure.
Not sure why Orisi ground checked that as she brought it into play, which is it's not something that you ever really need to do in WFDF rules. So
maybe she watched too much highlight Frisbee.
Yeah, the habit picked up from watching those across the pond.
That disc was always going to just find Swedish hands. Again, looking for some motivation on defense from the sideline. Hermansson with some quick changes of direction to get open. Gets the disc to Algren. Björgren into Hermansson, and loads of contact there, but she keeps possession. And the disc finds the ground. This is going to be a turnover.
Yeah, there was a pick called away from the play, but they very quickly determined that it did not affect. And there's that ground check again.
Just making sure everybody knows that disc is in. What a grab by Albani, and she's going to put it deep on a platter for her receiver, but too far, and she runs over it and stumbles. The intention to lay out was there, but
what a sequence that would have been if she was able to reel it in.
Not bad.
Albani looks a little bit disgusted with herself. She wasn't able to connect.
She's feeling really hard on herself. If that really is the struggle she's having.
Yeah, I mean, she did phenomenally just to even bring that down in the first place.
She did. Just waiting for everyone else to jump beside it and collect the garbage. Can't really say that if you're the only Italian coming up with the disc.
Another Swedish timeout here.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So a couple of minutes before the cap comes on, the Swedish taking a timeout, and we might have a little breather here in the booth as well.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
We're live.
We are back live here after the second timeout in the second half for the Swedish side. Let's see what they cooked up. Looks like a split stack setup for them. And the only option is for her to go deep, and this disc hit the camera. No, it didn't, but
I think it was, there was a coach in the way who was able to just get in there before it hit the pole cam.
very close.
Thank you for protecting ULTI.TV's equipment.
Oh. You get a gold star. And Arizi is not sure where to go. But surely...
Shouldn't it just be where it went out?
If it never went in, yes. If no defensive player touched the disc in the process, yes. Nonetheless, an amazing run flu block.
Yeah,
by Sweden.
Italy looking for that dump swing. Started on this side of the field, worked all the way over to the far side, and then just on the scoring pass, Sweden comes steaming through. It might have been Svan with the block.
Svan, a student out of Stockholm.
I mean, aren't they all going to be students?
Yeah, maybe someone's really, really intelligent is already a university student.
Just
at 16.
Still student, still counts.
Yeah,
but I do see your point, yes.
So a big hawk goes up and will only find the hands of an Italian player.
I think
Ballista.
Yeah, it is indeed. Read that one well.
Albani to Amati. Up the line, working it down this side, and another pick off by the Swedish side. And I want to say now, this is just the Italians not running through it towards the disc, but waiting for the disc to get to their hands.
Yeah, the Swedes have shown that they can't just sit back and wait for it.
Hermansson. Got the disc in her hand, is trapped on this near side here. And Italy manage another block. Vianello this time, slapping the disc to the ground. Albani into the end zone.
The signal's getting really choppy.
The camera's getting overheated. We'll take it down.
Cool, just want to make sure you're aware of it. Kicking the cone. What did the cone ever do to you?
Thank you for letting me know.
Kicking that cone away. Making sure to place her pivot in the right position.
Although actually, because you should put your pivot foot in the field of play.
Next to the cone, yes.
Yeah.
But then if you pivot, and if you want to move out, your foot, even though it doesn't leave the ground, it could kick the cone away and you could hurt yourself, or the cone just could fall over. So instead of, being irritated by that, you can put it next to the line. That is allowed.
No, I'm going to start a union for cones.
Okay. Vianello, I'll support you on this. Albani now in the middle. Puts up a knifey throw that only is going to be blocked from Svan. And I don't know how many defenses she made in this point, but it seems like the timeout really hasn't helped either side to clean up their play.
And it felt like a similar situation for Italy, where the throw goes up and they're just caught disc watching a little bit. Stall out called on the end zone.
That seemed very, very short time for a stall out.
But not contested.
But that works, and there's a single player in the end zone, and Albani just in front tries to jump it in, but
finally they're able to score. So it'll be 14-3 in a game to 15.
Swedish players lying down in frustration. Albani now. We'll see a sequence of blocks in the highlights, I hope, because this 1 point was filled with tight matchup defense out of Sweden.
Yes, Svan in particular got a fair few blocks that point. And then Amati picking up on the end zone line, doesn't like what she sees. Dumps off to Albani, who tries to jump this in, lands just short, but then sets herself and finds Vianello to bring Italy within 1 of victory.
So Sweden set up, as are Italy. Italy with a chance to break and get that W on the board. But now they have to stifle Sweden's O first, and we've seen some great connections from them. They haven't stopped fighting.
No, it's just been all too inconsistent for the Swedes.
True.
Live score update for the other games in this division at the moment. Germany 14, Belgium 4, and France 11, Great Britain 8.
A huge backhand, and finds the hand of Preving. I'm pretty sure that it was Bodonier who put that up, but this time, the second throw in this point hits the ground.
Yeah, it's a brilliant, high, towering grab, in fact, from Preving. Dishes the disc off and then tries to go into the end zone, but the connection isn't there.
Great yard gainer from the Italian side, and Ascari now with the disc.
I thought she was going to rip it.
I thought so too. I would have loved to see that. Some more action. Ascari just in front of the end zone now.
Oof.
Goes down, but it seems to be fine.
Yeah, heavy contact. Bodonier was a second or two late, and yeah, kind of poor judgment on that one. Was never going to get there.
Birthday girl Benzi with the disc now. Puts it up the line to Ascari. Oh, and an effort to keep the possession alive here for Massi. But that disc seems to be hurt, broken.
It just felt like the handler on that far sideline didn't get any support early enough. Could have done with looking for an earlier reset. They're just going to check this disc, as you mentioned, to see that it's okay.
Attention, attention, the disc is flying towards us. Hitting the back of the fence there.
Must admit, it seemed to fly okay when they threw it off the field, but
then it really picked up speed, and I was a bit scared. As this disc in the first throw is given back to Italy. Baccolini to Ascari. Benzi into Baccolini again. Up the line, just in front of the end zone now, far side into the end zone, and that's a score.
Or is it?
Or is it? Is it? She towed a line. Was it on the line? Whatever it was. Oh, she gives it back right to the
yeah, they're gonna
Swedish
say
player. So
gonna say it was out.
Yeah, good spirit there.
Again, from where we're standing, do not really have a good angle on that.
Not at all. I just saw the ballerina toe. Good effort by Santalena. And the stifling zone set up for Italy is up again. Many bodies underneath it and collected by a Swedish player. Dang.
I mean, would it be anyone else?
No, probably not. I wouldn't expect it from anyone else. Oh, what a beautiful low shot there out of Prevang.
Yeah, coming after the huck. I think maybe just caught the mark off guard. Or at least the huck fake, I should say.
I didn't see a huck come up, but neither did the mark. Preving. Faking another huck, gets it to her best friend. I love how calm they seem.
That 4 are in very close for Italy.
Oh, what a beautiful catch. And I'm just going to say it every single time, but not even going to be surprised anymore that Dang got...
Dang by name, Dang by nature, I guess.
So there's a call on the field. Paving trying to get that disc, but the Italian player, Ascari, seems to be in a better position. And Paving, as she moves into the space, gets bumped, preventing her to get that goal.
So they're engaged in discussion here. Both sides trying to put their point of view across.
Yeah. Can hear the whistle for the 30 seconds.
I think they're calling for a translator.
Just going to contest that disc and get it back into the hands of Dang.
Yeah, the time limits are a nice idea, but especially probably at junior international tournaments where the mutual language skills are often likely to be more limited.
Yeah.
Kind of feel like you had to be maybe a bit more forgiving with those time limits.
I agree. In addition, I talked to one of the players who are on Yaka, Caro Thyssen, and she has suggested that time limits for calls like this should not be in place for especially under 17 and also under 20, since we expect players to learn the rules and apply them properly in a limited amount of time, but we don't even give them a room to learn them in. And this would set the example and give the room for the learning of it, so that in the future you know how to handle situations like this.
Yeah, give them more time so they can properly have the discussion and kind of play the situation out.
The disc hitting the ground though, and now Italy off to the races. Benzi.
I guess what you're trying to prevent is people just saying 30 seconds, just send it back, whatever. Don't talk and don't think about it.
Abusing those. Oh, but kneeing.
The needy.
Needy. Thinks about it and then just releasing that disc a little too late for it to hit the end zone.
Yeah.
That, and hits a Swedish defender instead.
Yeah, I think it's Thorvand who need that out of play.
So the setup. Zone setup again. Huge hammer. Connects with Carlsen. And Carlsen throws it into the ground, and Italy picks up, and there is a discussion as she quickly put that disc into play, but Benzi, the birthday girl, will get it back into play. Ascari.
I think she just picked it up and played it from where it was, but that was in the end zone, so needs to reset her feet outside.
Right, a travel called, and Italy have an opportunity to score, and Benzi, who's got her birthday today, gets something very special, which is the winning goal for the Italian side.
Yeah, 15-3 they run out victory here over the Swedes, and in truth, I think they were very good value for it.
Yeah, we got a good game here. Great work from both sides. Devastation on the Swedish side. But that's okay, they fought hard and they got so many great defensive plays. They just couldn't keep it up on the offensive side, but it's still under 17. There's so much talent on this young team, and I'm really looking forward to see that matchup in 2 years once they're playing under 20, or some of them still under 17.
Yeah, because as we mentioned, there are some very young players here on both sides. 2 more games for you today. Both of them will be on the World Flying Disc Federation YouTube channel. 3 o'clock local time, under 20 mixed action, Sweden versus Slovakia, and then under 20 women at 5 o'clock, Austria versus Great Britain.
So you know we have so much more action for you today, and also until the end of this week, so don't forget to tune in. Thank you very much for being with us. For Benji Rees, I've been Christina Obermeyer, and we will see you again soon.
ULTI.TV. ULTI.TV.